Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. I want to start first of all from the good news. It seems like Ukrainian army expanded the bridgehead near to Krynky, the southern part of Ukraine. Let's go to the place and check the timeline. Was yesterday and it is today, so Ukraine liberated a couple of the quarters and some of the streets. As you can see, not all of the Krynky village is under Ukrainian control. The central part still belongs to the Russian army. And for the last couple of weeks, they intensified their attacks towards the village. But Ukraine so far repelled everything successfully. Russia lost many of the vehicles, like already hundreds in Krynky. That's why they send mostly infantry nowadays. We know that Ukraine took the ground because the flag was put on one of the towers in the area, and the area is over here, so it means that Ukraine took this part of the ground. In Krynky, Ukrainian army successfully cuts all of the Russian supply logistics. Their vehicles are under the constant Ukrainian FPV drone attacks. You may see this screen and the video that was filmed there. Without the proper supplies, Russia is unable to organize the controlled assault on Krynky. That's why FPV really matters. On this video we may see Ukrainian drone which tries to enter this armored vehicle, which was kaputted, but there was some infantry, Russian soldiers inside that vehicle hiding. What Ukrainian army is using now are double shells on those kind of the drones. The drones are very heavy and big nowadays, capable to carry a couple of the shells at the same time, and obviously this vehicle was kaputted. This happened near to Avdiivka. By the way, let's go to Avdiivka and review the place, because it is still a hottest spot on the front lines. Again, the deep state military map. From what I can see, my friends, unfortunately the town is doomed. Russia will be able to establish the control over Avdiivka, but when actually it might happen, hopefully not before the elections in the Russian Federation, but they assault very fast. And let's check out the timeline for today. Was yesterday, I'll put it like this, and it is today. As you saw, Russia advanced into all the directions. First of all, over here, and they already cut the supply road, the main one for Avdiivka, and they also moved forward in this place, trying to encircle Ukrainian army in this particular spot. So obviously, even yesterday, Ukrainian army should withdraw the forces from the place for sure. There are a couple of the settlements in the area, one small settlement over here, and some of the buildings in this place. Hopefully tomorrow we're not gonna see this picture. I'm sure that the Ukrainian command knows about the situation in this place, so it's better to leave this area, and Russia will occupy all of this part and will propel forward from this place. Ukraine is still using this road from Sudan to Avdiivka. The pavement of the road is not as good as for this one, which Russia already cut. Probably Russia will continue their assault towards the place. However, there are some of the rivers on their ways and the terrain is quite difficult, so it might take them some time to assault. And here they also tried to move forward, but this attack failed for the Russian side. Ukraine at the same time sent some of the reinforcements to the area. We already have the confirmation about it. So yes, honestly, I know who was sent there, but I'm unable to tell you. But what I may tell you that Ukrainian command is not interested in wasting the army resources, including their soldiers, in this place. So mainly it was also the rotation. Some of the people who were in the place, some of the soldiers, went out from Avdiivka to take some rest because they were fighting there for a very long time. Some from the start of the Russian assault on the place or even before. Putin would obviously show the victory in Avdiivka as the victory in this war if it happens before elections or maybe even after. Let's go to the satellite image. I just want to show you that the road is now being crossed by the Russian attack in this place, so it's unuseful any longer. And Russia will try to attack this factory from three of the sides, this time from this side, and already from this place as well. Still could be the main resistance point for Ukrainian army, because the factory is not easy target to take very fast for the Russian forces. And on the south, just want to show you some of the settlements. So this one over here, some of the houses probably, and here are dachi. So Ukraine needs to withdraw the forces from this place for sure and do it very, very fast. The Mayakovsk 73 also confirms the information about the Russian advancement. Indeed, they cut the road. That's what we can say for sure. Here we see different Russian attacks in Avdiivka, multiple vectors, and they also use aviation bombs targeting the central part of the city. Also today, Russia advanced towards Novomihailovka, partially taking this village under control. So it was yesterday and it is today, and before they assaulted with this vector and Ukraine repelled their attack, but later on they started to attack once again, this time quite successfully. Also, Russian artillery attacked the Ukrainian hub center and supply center in Selidove. They reported that Ukraine lost thousands of the soldiers, but it's not like that. We have even the drone images, some of the pictures. Let me show you. So indeed, there are some of the supply vehicles of Ukrainian army, and Russia targeted those with the help of the aviation bombs, but there were not enough vehicles for 1,000 soldiers, let's say, and all those vehicles were parked for quite a long time, and I believe that inside there were no soldiers but ammunition. However, Russia targeted the nearby barrack, which caught fire, but 1,000 soldiers in that small building, I don't think so either. After all, this situation is obviously really bad for Ukrainian side, but not for that scale as Russia says it. Selidove village is really far away from the Russian positions, 22.5 kilometers till the front lines, and Russian artillery is behind the front lines, but still it's within the range of some of the Russian artillery systems, let's say. The new Ukrainian army commander Syrsky today stated that the Ukrainian army will go to full defense and probably will not commence any more counterattacks on the front lines until we have the support from the United States of America and from other Ukrainian allies enough to perform those operations. So the main thing is to secure Ukrainian ground against the Russian aggression for this year. I think it's understandable. Russia was using this winter to prepare for the summer campaign. They produced many more tanks, many more artillery systems, plus drones, but Ukraine was waiting for the military support from our allies and still waiting, so this winter was just wasted and summer campaign is not ready for Ukrainian army. It means that Ukraine will spend it mostly in defense, at the same time probably losing some ground because Russia this year is more prepared. Senate finally approved the military support of Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan. Totally $95 billion will be spent for it, probably because this bill should go to the House of Representatives, and we know that Speaker Mike Johnson is not even willing to put it for voting. However, there is some sort of the procedure to remove him just for one day. Probably Democrats together with some sane Republicans will go through this procedure. Donald Trump really wants to stop the help for Ukraine, but nevertheless we have more votes, this time 70 against 29 from Senate. Before it was 67 for and now 70, so more Republicans are willing to support Ukraine. It is awesome, but there are some insane Republicans from the MAGA group who support Trump, who support all of this madness, not willing to help Ukraine in its fight. Moreover, they all say that Putin will win, and they don't want to even stop him or try to stop him. They say that the situation for Ukraine is doomed. We are just waiting the money. For me, it's really hard to understand what is happening inside their heads, and more about that on my other channel. I'll film one more video just after I film a Ukrainian topic. I created the other channel just for the world news to separate topic a little, but you see that they are very close tied together after all. We have the recent statistics for the vehicle losses for both of the sides since the beginning of February, for the first 10 days, let's say, of the February. So Russia lost 446 of the vehicles, Ukraine lost 148. The ratio of the losses is 3-1, so Russia loses 3 times more of the stuff compared to Ukraine. It is normal because they are now attacking. It's according to the book, let's say. But if they enter, for example, Avdiivka city during the urban fight, the losses will be 1-1 as it was in Bakhmut, unfortunately. Also, Russia continued to lose their modern tanks. That's why we see more T-62 or even T-55 tanks on the front lines. They are producing those tanks, but not enough to compensate the losses during their winter assault campaign. According to independent calculations, Russia already lost 3,000 tanks, and those are confirmed with visual information like photos or drone videos. That's why they're losing the potential for the massive attacks, and obviously they'll keep some tanks for reserves in case of future operations against even NATO countries. I believe that that scenario also could be real because Russia is unable to achieve its goal in Ukraine, so it might start one more war. They need at least 2 years to restore their army capability as it was more or less before 2022. Nevertheless, the chief European officials, including Borrell, are stating that Russia is getting their forces ready for the massive assault in Ukraine after the elections, which will happen in March. They say that the big Russian offensive will start in a few months. I'm sure that Ukrainians are very dedicated to continue the fight, but they're unable to do it without our support. Well, probably they're sure that Russia might start this massive counteroffensive. Maybe the strategy of Russia is to use the old tanks in Ukraine just right now. Meanwhile, all the modern tanks which they produce, they're collecting somewhere, and those tanks will be used for the future offensive. Not only tanks, but other modern-day weaponry. Here's the Russian drone video. This is a Ukrainian Bradley. It's been attacked by the Lancet drone, but from what I see, Lancet drone hit near to the vehicle because after all, the Bradley was okay. There is no fire, nothing, but we don't see how it moves after this video. But I think that armor withstand the impact. According to the information coming from Ukrainian sources, from Ukrainian military, the task for the Russian army is to occupy all of the Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast until 17th of March, then there will be elections in the Russian Federation. Well, I may say that this task is unreal for the Russian army for sure. Because they spent 5 months attacking Avdiivka, not yet taking it under control, and we don't know when they will manage to take it under control, probably next month or after 2 months. And here we have the border of Donetsk Oblast with all of those big settlements like Kramatorsk, Slavyansk. They are much bigger compared to Avdiivka, even bigger compared to Bakhmut. It is actually one big urban environment from many of the small towns, cities. One goes to another. There is almost no space between them, so it's very hard task for the Russian army to attack this place, and Putin wants to achieve it in 1 month. No, this is totally unreal. In the best case scenario for Russians, they'll occupy Avdiivka till 17th of March. That's it. This is the new Russian know-how, the protection against the drones. You may see T-62 tank, and they put the trees all around the tank, saying that FPV drones hit the trees and not the tank. Well, maybe it should work even. We have TikTok warrior from the Ahmad battalion who greets the Russian soldiers in Chechen language, but the translation is here in Russian. You'll be killed. This one also will be killed. This one also will be killed. This one too. And this one as well. Dark Chechen humor, I would say. And by the way, here on this cap you may see that Russian soldier also carries the imperial flag of the Russian Empire that was in 17th century as far as I remember. And yesterday we reviewed the guy with tattoo of this flag and some of the swastikas and SS stuff. So they see Russia as a new empire that shares its Russian peace all around the world, including Ukraine first of all. There was the fire outbreak today in the big Russian aviation factory of the Moscow city. At first it was reported that the oil facility is on fire, but later on it was confirmed that it is the Russian military factory. Whether it was attacked by drones or not, I'm out of clue. Russia says that it was internal issue with some of the electricity which caused this massive fire. The Norway-Finnish military company Nammo started the massive production of 155mm artillery shells for Ukraine. Their factory now works non-stop 24/7. Awesome news for Ukraine, at least from Europe. The similar message again we have from Scholz that Europe should start the massive production of the weaponry to protect itself and to protect Ukraine. He completely changed his mind after so much time, but still he is one of the main Ukrainian supporters. A couple of days ago, he visited the United States. He spoke with President Biden. He met with many of the senators, including Republicans, probably also trying to convince them to support Ukraine with military help. Last year, the United States of America pushed Germany for the military support of Ukraine, and this year it's total change. Also great news from Ecuador, they will supply some of the Mi-17 transport helicopters to Ukraine. Instead, they will obtain UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter from the United States of America. Nice replacement, but I wish we also had those helicopters. We have just a single one that serves for the special operations. We have the Starlink image from Sudan. RSF militia forces, which are in opposition to the government of Sudan, are using those systems. Wagner also helps those forces, by the way. And this video is filmed by the Russian volunteers who support DJI drones to the Russian army, not only DJI, and here you also see Starlink. I do not have proofs, but it seems like Elon Musk supports the Russian Federation with this technology. Well, at least this case should be investigated for sure, including Elon Musk. My friends, don't forget to press your huge like to this video. By doing so, you help me a lot. And also, if you want to support my job, you may check out some of the links in the video description just below. Special thanks for my Patreon supporters and the sponsors of my YouTube channel. Guys, thank you so much for your awesome support. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.